I remember that time I was sitting in my room, preparing for my midterm exam, and it was way past midnight. I was dozing off, and my body it kept bleeding me to please take a sleep. However, I refused to do so. I thought to myself, no, I don't deserve any breaks at all because I haven't done with my homework yet. So why should I waste my time on something as useless as resting? And yes, I expected the next day I woke up feeling exhausted and I couldn't focus on any facet at all. At that time, I asked myself, why did I feel guilty when my body just wanted me to rest? I know that I'm not the only person who encounters this problem. Maybe you have experienced it too. Whenever you feel like you need to slow down for a bit, your mind starts filling up with thoughts like, no, I cannot do this, or I have too much need to do, instead of just resting. And then even when your body is relaxing, your mind is won't start burning with thoughts. However, there's no one there to force you to try the hard though. So the real question here is, where does all the skill come from? Well, because you cannot answer it, I will answer it for you. Somewhere along the way, we start treating productivity as an evidence of worth, which will have a term for that called productivity culture. People often judge others based on how much they have accomplished in their life and how they perform in their work. But we don't really care about the exhaustion or the problems that that person has to face. And at the same time, modern life exposes us to other people's achievement more than ever before, especially on social media. When we scroll through this post, what we mostly see are the highlights of those people's life, studying late at night, celebrating big awards, achieving big successes, etc. But what we cannot see through the post are the burnout moments, or the time when they are just simply resting. And then our mind starts to believe that everyone is constantly working harder than we do. So that belief slowly turns rest into guilt. And I have experienced this probably before. There was a moment in my life that the social media was flooded with the contents like "put all nighter for me." This is when a person they study from day to night just to be here for an exam. At first, I felt those concepts very motivated, and I can actually feel the urge to study like them. However, after seeing too much videos like that, I started to feel pressured instead. I didn't know what's the problem with all the fields that they fill it in Thailand. So when they take a 5-minute break, it cannot be visibly shown and so studio. So when I look at them, I naturally think that they literally study for 6 hours straight without much resting at all. And that as perspective about rest has formed in my mind that rest is only for lazy people. And I need to always stay productive if I want to be successful. And it's not just about social media. From a very young age, we're often being told that we need to be hardworking and always living our best life. Always living our best life. And as we grow up, we often think that rest can only come after when we just over work. And from that way of thinking, we actually think that rest is like an achievement, not with a basic need anymore. And as we grow up, often the voice that we used to hear from people around us start to become our internal voice, which is say why, but there's no one there to force you to do anything. You still remind yourself that I need to work harder, I need to be successful, I need to always be productive. And that the pressure isn't just coming from the people around you, but it's more like it's coming from you instead. And the fact that we need to actively find the guilt whenever we feel like we need to slow down from that, show us that our relationship with rest has already broken. So what if it's already broken, you might ask? Well, it's super hard for us to see it as a natural thing. Fortunately, I have a solution for you. If you cannot see it as a basic need, how about turning it into a skill, which we can relearn it? And here are some of the ways that I've already applied into my own life, which can change how I see rest. Firstly, I set boundaries with my devices. I know this is cliche. I know that everyone always telling you this, but it's very hard to do. Actually, at first, I thought I couldn't do this because I used to be a girl who would immediately go to Instagram in my break time. But by constantly getting rid of all this type of content that can actually make me feel worse, I feel more motivated to return back to my study after resting. And the second thing is that I schedule the way I rest the same way I schedule my study. When we look at a timetable, what do we mostly see? But the activities that we read down. Like from 10 to 11 p.m., we have to study literature. From 11 to 12, have to study math. But we don't really have to get it there. But as a person myself, I don't really like timetables, so I set a clear goal in my head that after 1 hour study, I would give myself 5 minutes break. I don't care if my work are finished. If what my study time was 1 hour, I will stop to have some rest time to slow down for it. And by applying this method to my whole life, I can actually control my time and my rest better without feeling overwhelmed by studying. And the last month, which is a more full budget point, listen to my notes before. When the guilty thoughts appear to head, I remind myself that rest is not a reward. And it's not a reward after finishing it. Because if I waited for everything to be finished before allowing myself to take some rest, then I would probably never rest at all. Instead, I thought myself that, yeah, it's okay to slow down a bit because this can actually cause you to be more productive. At first, it was very hard to control my thoughts, but after some of the reminders that I keep telling myself very late, that rest is not reward, rest is not reward, rest is not reward, I stopped seeing rest as a burden, but more like a superpower that we can actually use in our whole life. And I know that you're confident. And after all, we're always trying to build a better future for us. And we're working so hard to get there. However, a future that will be want to be worth living in. And the first I'm putting in is too exhausted to enjoy it. And I need you to know something. That progress is not the opposite of progress. It's what makes your focus even more meaningful and positive. Because if you don't let your mind slow down for it will lose its creativity of consciousness. And in today's world, the challenge isn't just about how successful you are, or more like how can you be balanced and happy after you reach your goal. As if there's something that you can remember after hours each day, high confidence, productivity may help us achieve things, but rest is what helps us reach balance. Thank you for listening.